Hello, guys, and welcome to the Empower Queen Show. I am your host, Marche Mayfield, and I am super excited to be back before you guys today. We have a lovely, lovely host. When I was reading her bio, I'm thinking like, I just need to have her to myself. I just need her for Marche. But then I thought, Marche, now that wouldn't be what an Empower Queen do. What she does is she shows up for other people to empower them, to up-level them. So, guys, I had to be fair today and share with you our lovely host, Odessa Thornhill, guys. She is an amazing woman that has taken the time out today to be with us, to educate us, to inspire us, and to help us become knowledgeable about so many different things in our lives, in our business, in our health, and in our wealth, guys. So I would, if you would kind of give a round of applause. I need like that thing to go, do that clapping for you. Yeah. Guys, Odessa she's going to talk to us today about healing emotional wounds. Healing emotional wounds. Rediscovering your creative voice. How many of you can probably say, I've lost it. I feel like I've lost it. But today we have an expert that's going to share with you how to rediscover your voice, your creative voice. So Odessa, I ask you to, dear sister, you show up and you shine and you give the listeners and viewers exactly what you feel that we need on this day.
Wonderful. Give thanks. Thank you so much, Marche, for having me, for connecting and creating this platform for women to come together, to share and to feel empowered and to just receive the information that they could use to empower their environment, and the people that are around them, So I definitely want to just give a thank you and a shout out.
Yes. So Odessa, I have a question. Mm-hmm. Can you share with us, how did you become so passionate about the work that you do today for women?
I think that I can start off by saying it's innate in me, the desire to help and to serve people. Ever since I was young, anybody had any kind of boo-boo or a cut or a bruise or anything like that, I was there. Rub it this way, move this way, just, feel better type of thing. So I've always had that innate ability to hold space for people. And by the time I had my first daughter, I remember having a few experiences with in the hospital, and I was really unsatisfied with how I felt and the answers that they gave me. And at the same time, I was looking for groups for women to connect, for myself to connect with other women. And then I began to notice that whereas we do have groups that come together, the healing components of these groups weren't as progressive, I found, or not, I can't say progressive because everything has its progression, but I felt as though they were still a little bit on the surface. And so I would just begin bringing women together and, asking questions and doing workshops. And that's how it began. And I feel that specifically working with women is important when we're looking at how to heal. Right, and how to heal our generations, because, as much as we need to have the balance between men and women, we do have some men or women who are only focusing on men. But at this particular point of my career, I really feel passionately about working with women because, everyone always comes back to the women in their lives, whether it's a friend, a sister, a cousin, a girlfriend, a lover, a wife, a mother, a daughter. Yeah.
Wow. And so when you talk about healing, can you give us a better description to really help us to understand? Or you mean healing from an illness? Or when you speak of healing, what do you exactly mean?
I'm talking about body, mind, spirit, mentality. I'm talking about everything, because we have to understand that the innate desire of the body and of the spirit is to thrive. Under any circumstances that you look at the human body, you have a small little cut and the body is sending the troopers to that site to heal, right? So when we understand this, and then when we begin to just expand our awareness and our consciousness a little bit more to include all of the aspects of ourselves that we are, right? When we look at how healing manifests in the body, illness manifests in the body by way of, yes, there are sometimes genetic genetic reasons for illnesses, but it also has to do with where we are spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. On these different levels, when we have blockages and when we have issues that we're not working with properly, things that we know we have to deal with, unresolved stuff, when we don't deal with them, they create blockages and obstacles, and they show up in our physical body as illness, and they show up in our external life as challenges, right? And when we understand healing as an evolutionary evolutionary thing, it gives us the ability to understand that it's a process. So when people say I'm healed and that's the end of the story, I always question that, because it's a continual thing. There's always layers to it. We're always going to attract people, circumstances, and places to us that represent where we are in our lives and show us and reflect those pieces of us that need to be worked on. When somebody rubs on you the wrong way, it's usually because there's something inside of you that you have not acknowledged yet, right? So when there's an illness that comes to you, it's usually because there's something that you have to deal with, So when we say that we've got a cold, we have mucus, oh, I'm so stuffed up, that actually means that there's a lot of questions. You might be in the middle of a lot of questions. Mucus represents questions. You see, so when we look at healing like this, and from a multi-dimensional, multidisciplinary level, it opens us up to like a lot more room to grow, and a lot more room to experiment with what we understand as our unique form of healing.
Wow. Okay, can someone please tell Marche to shut her mouth, because I know it's like hung open right now, because the information that you just shared I'm sitting here thinking about all my illness that I've dealt with. A lot of, and I deal with hypertension, obesity, and these different things. And to hear you say to me that it's stemming from some other place, and mucus stems from the questions that I'm battling with and not giving the answers to. Wow.
And I mean, everyone is layered too, right? Like I said, and so we have general. We can look at general conditions, and then we look at specific to the person.
Now, guys, let me share with you why this woman, this lady, this empowered queen is qualified to share with you this information and knowledge that she's sharing with us today. She is a multidisciplinary performing artist. Am I pronouncing, how you say that, sweetheart? Naturopath. And I was about to mess that word up. Naturopath. She integrates intuitive wellness therapies into her multi-layered transformed healing guides. She's certified. She's qualified to teach and share with you and myself information that can truly transition us into a place that we probably have never experienced. Because, most of us depend on some form of medication to, we think, heal, but to, what's the proper word?
It kind of just deals with the symptoms, suppresses a little bit.
Right. And so to hear this information, this knowledge, it's just mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. So how would you help a woman that comes in that's dealing with a certain element? If you could just share just some of the steps that you share with your clients.
So one of the things that I always look at, so you come in with an illness. So let's say, for example, these days I have a lot of clients coming to me for infertility, right? And so we look at, what is your relationship to creativity? How do you understand creativity? Right? How is your life fertile or infertile? What is your definition of these words, first of all, and how does it look in your life? And then we look at the different layers, like I was mentioning, the physical, the mental, the spiritual, and the emotional, and we look at what are the main issues that are coming up, because one leads to the other. One leads to the other. So we begin to address them, and then we look at, okay, well, if these are your dominant emotions tend to live or exist within particular organs of the body and particular particular ways of being, like paradigms that we think in, that we allow, because we live in boxes, and then when we understand a little bit more, the box changes and it opens up a little bit more, and then as you learn, so as we do that, and I'm using infertility as one thing, but I mean, it covers the scope of everything, right? So we look at it like that, and we'll say, okay, if you're dealing with anger, you have anger in your life. So you could be dealing with issues in the liver. That's usually where anger is stored. And so, okay, well, what can be happening? Yeah, right. The liver is one of the largest organs in the body after the skin, but the liver also helps to process a lot of toxins, right? The liver is responsible for dispersing energy. In Chinese medicine, it also relates to menstrual health, right? So we look at it like that and say, okay, well, how does the liver need to be cleansed? Does the liver need to be nourished? What kind of anger do you have? Is it justified anger? Is it stuck anger? Because there's different types of anger that we have as well too. And so what are the reasons that they're there? And then when we go back, when did it start? What was the circumstance that began this reason? And then we look at everything else around it. I also look at how hydrated an individual is and the type of words that they're saying, because water imprints. Liquid imprints. When we think of a baby in the womb, right, we think of wanting to keep the mother happy for many different reasons. The baby is very vulnerable, but water imprints. And we have these fluids in our body that we imprint on every day. So imagine your most secret behind the door thought that you've been carrying with you, right? And how it's affecting your body. So you might be holding on to this anger for whatever reason, and it's affecting your liver, right? And you might have liver issues, you know what I mean? You might have like all kinds of stuff that come up from that. So I look at it, the way that I approach illness is, yes, you'll give me your illness, right, or the condition that you're working with, and we're going to look at it through the foods. We're going to look at it through herbs. We're going to look at it through colors that you use. We're going to look at through emotions that you associate, words and phrases, actions. So that's how I look at it, right? Because you need to be able to open it up to see it from like a bird's eye view, as opposed to just handling it with one.
Oh wow, that's deep. That's deep. And so I can literally see and understand when you say the different layers of things versus just saying, okay, Marsha, you have a liver problem, and not really getting to the source and uncovering the different layers of what's actually causing this problem.
Yes.
So what are some different things that you I know that you work with your clients on? I know you talked about not anxiety. Do you do the anxiety?
Yes.
Anxiety. What are some different things for those listeners and viewers that may be struggling or dealing with some different areas that they may not realize they need to reach out for support?
So with women's care, I have a lot of women who come to me with irregular menstrual cycles, premenopause, a lot of hormonal fluctuations, women who are trying to have babies. I work with women who are birthing, so I'm also a doula. I work with women who have had babies, so a postpartum doula. I work with depression. I've worked with confidence. I tend to have more women who come to me as physical illness as a secondary. I've had people who have come to me with diabetes. I've had sickle cell. I've had weight loss. I've had just a pretty good array of yeah.
Wow. Oh my God. Look, guys, in the comment section below, please let Odessa know how she's supporting you. And any questions that you may have, note those in the comment section. And I would definitely make sure that Odessa sees those and to respond back to you, because the information is like, it's honestly nothing that I've never heard, and to know that we could actually be healed, versus being prescribed, something from our different illness, whether it's physically or mentally, based on what you're saying.
Yes, and when we look at every single spiritual system, and particularly most melanated people in America follow Christianity, or a large portion, and when we look at laying of the hands,
Mm-hmm.
And we look at that culture that we have, when it comes to our spiritual gifts and just our innate abilities. When we allow ourselves to remove the fear that comes with understanding the fullness of spirit, right? Because we are spiritual beings that exist in a physical body, and we allow ourselves to abide by man-given rules, right? And that it kind of it suppresses our God-given rules, our universal laws, right? And so and in that way, it's interesting. I have these conversations with my friends, and I said, but not in a blasphemous way, but we are God, because if we say that we're made in the image and likeness thereof, and we are the children of, then we have that capacity. And so when we remove the paradigm that everything is external, and we don't have that capacity, when we remove that blockage from us, and we understand that we have that, you're sitting there and somebody's looking at you, and you turn and that person's looking at you, or you were thinking of this individual, and that individual called you, or you were trying to do something, and then so aligned itself, because this is us in our natural state aligning to the greatness that is, and so when we are able to not to not be fearful, to not be fearful, and to embrace that all, of spirit and what spirit is, and really understand what Christ consciousness is, right? Then it helps us to open up ourselves to a different level of understanding. Yeah.
I love it. Because my mind instantly went back to the Empowered Queen. If we could honestly embrace what you just said,
yes.
I mean, we feel as empowered queens not operating in the place that we are. But if we could actually own the things that you teach us, it would take you to an entire new level of life.
Yes.
Like this is empowerment. Like you sit on top of the world saying, hey, look at
That's
me.
right.
Because I'm in control and in charge of my destiny, my life, my
That's
body, my being, my healing. Oh my God,
That's right. And how I see it as, wellness that supports creativity. Right? Like when we look at it from all levels across the board, like what is your baseline? You know what I mean? And when you can address your baseline, it just trickles into everything. When you're financially stuck and it ain't working. It just ain't working. You look over here, it ain't working. You look over there, it ain't working. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's the same thing with health, with your wellness. When you look at it on all levels, it affects everything. It'll affect your relationship. It'll affect your money. It'll affect your work. It'll affect how you view the world, how you smile at that person, that extra little bit that you give the other person, where you're coming from. Because if you don't have any kind of fuel, and you're giving from a cup that's half empty, then you're not really giving. Like you're giving, but you're not giving them what they need, because you're giving from a place that you're not supposed to be. Well, I can't say not supposed to, but you're depleted. Right?
Yes.
You're already depleted. And we say this, but I don't think people really understand that. You know what I mean? It's like your child needs you to be 100% present for them. And you can see the difference if you have children. You can see the difference if you're not there for them. You know what I mean? Your child starts to kind of go wayward. And so imagine, we do this to everything and everyone without taking care of ourselves. And so my work is really about allowing women, primarily women, I do work with men, but allowing women the ability to just kind of sit back, and paint that picture, look at that portrait of who they are and paint that picture, and learn how to heal, to be able to really benefit from that breath of fresh air that comes, Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's great. I almost feel like I want to start breathing or, something.
Yes.
It's great. That's wonderful. Odessa, could you tell our viewers and our listeners, how could they have an intimate conversation with you? How can they reach out to say, because some of us are dysfunctional and we don't, acknowledge that we are. So how can you tell that woman that may be feeling some type of way or not feeling 100% complete or whole, whether physically, mentally, or emotional, how can I get in touch with you to see, you know, do I really need help? Which I'm sure most of us do.
Mm-hmm. So you can visit my website at cultivateyourown.com, and you can book a clarity conversation with me, right? You just fill in the information on the form and I'll send you an email, and we can make a date to have a conversation. Yeah, to speak would take about 30 minutes and look at where you're at and where you can move to. I've also actually just launched my wellness program, a 90-day wellness program. And so when you go on my website as well, there's a button that speaks about the Discover Your Voice wellness program. And this is a new way that I'm working with my clients, because I find that, you know, like we were saying, you know, when people come in and they say, I have this problem, and I'll say, well, take this and take this and take this. People go home and they'll address the surface, but they won't address everything else. And so this new way of working gives my clients a base of 90 days with different exercises to do along the way. And then we have our one-to-one time together that allows them to go deeper into the issues that they're dealing with, but also work with a collective and a group of other people at the same time. So yeah.
That's great. So how I can just only imagine the group effort of everybody coming together and really sharing. Like, how do you feel about group accountabilities and things like that? What would you say? All I can do is raise my hands.
Hands in the air for the groups. Group healing is when it's done well, it's one of the most effective ways of healing, when one or two are gathered. When one or two are gathered. Come on now, folks. That's right, hands in the air. You know, it's so important, you know, for that, because that's it. Like what you're going through, you know, another individual might be experiencing another angle of it, or the exact same thing. And when you come together in a group to discuss, you know, first what we have to understand, because you're going to get me started.
Come on, sister. Right? Come on, sister.
When a group comes together to work, right? What we have to understand, energetically speaking, is that every individual in the group makes up the whole. So when you go home and you do your work, you are contributing to the growth of that.
Wow.
And that's a really awesome dynamic. And so when the group comes together, right, you leave, you do your work, and you return, and you've done your work, you can feel the evolution of that group. And so each body in the group affects the group as a whole. Like we really do. And the environment that we're creating creates a cylinder. That cylinder of healing. And so when you're able to do that, whether it's accountability for business, you understand, you're coming together, did you do this? Touch. When you're coming together, just assist us to talk and to support one another. When you're coming together to do spiritual work, when you're coming together to, you know, to plant, whatever it is that you're doing. And when you come together with that understanding that you are affecting change, you are affecting planetary healing by group work. Oh, yes, I'm all about that.
I am. And that's the reason I asked that question, because I want our empowered queens to truly understand that we cannot grow and heal alone. You know, and it's a lot of our generation that we've been taught that, you know, even myself, I had to learn to overcome this. You know, whatever goes on in my house, my home stays in my home. But we have to get away from that, because there's no successful person or individual, if it is, let me know, because I haven't seen it, that did this process alone. They had to have a support system around them, you know, a coach or a mentor, you know, whatever it is that you need to make sure that you bring this person into your life and stop feeling like, you know, I'm afraid, I'm ashamed, or, you know, I don't need anyone, to change this so that you can truly live the life that you're desiring.
That's right.
You know, on your terms, and you have control of that. But we say in this place is, you know, I don't want to tell anybody. I don't want anybody to know that I'm having emotional problems and my liver is messed up and it's leading to all these other problems, you know, because I'm the empowered queen and no one can know this about me. That's baloney.
It is.
That's baloney.
Yes.
I want to say another word, but baloney sound appropriate right now.
It works.
Right. Because guys, I want you to get this. We all need each other. We need experts like Odessa to tell me, Marsha, this is why you're facing and dealing with these problems in your body. You on how to be healed from this. Marsha, stop just, touching the surface of a thing. I need to reveal these layers of what's going on, these years and years, Marsha, these 37 years of problems layering on top of each other. Now let's unfold these things.
That's right.
And so I'm okay with investing in an expert like Odessa to tell me how to be truly healed from that. So guys, I encourage you to really reach out and take advantage of that conversation, completely free based on what she said. What do you have to lose other than leaving the phone, leaving the call, healed, and going into the process of knowing that I'm about to take control of my life. That's what I mean. It's a process. And when you make that conversation, you make that call, you go on that website, you are taking the first step to gaining the healing of your life.
That's right.
So I say that with love. I honestly say it with love. Odessa, is there anything else that you want to share with us today?
I just think that we all need to be gentle with ourselves. Just be gentle with yourself. Just, that part of you that, you've been, struggling with and fighting with, and, it too needs a place to breathe. So that everyone can gain perspective, and as uncomfortable as it is, just love it anyways, because it is a part of you until you have figured out the next step.
Oh man, that was good. Odessa, thank you. If you could, guys, her website would be located in the bottom in the comment section on iTunes as well as YouTube's. Reach out to her, have a conversation, leave your comments, and let us know how the Empowered Queen show has supported you, how our guest speaker has supported you. And if you need any additional information or knowledge to take you to the next level of your life. Odessa, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for showing up for our listeners and our viewers today. And for all of you listeners and all of you viewers, you guys know who I am. And until next time, I will see you, Empowered Queens, the next go around. You guys have a wonderful and wonderful day. Thank you.
Wonderful day, Ashe.